Kwanzaa isn't really like any of the other holidays in the holiday season, is it? For one thing, it's a-religious. Hanukkah is tied with Judaism, and the gestalt of desperate traditions from all over the world and influenced by their holidays, Christmas, is at the very least tied up to some extent with Christianity. Kwanzaa isn't tied to a religion, it's tied to a people. Specifically black people. Even more specific, African Americans. It's also a heck of a lot younger than the others. Christmas has roots in ancient pagan traditions like Yule. Hanukkah is a holiday based on the aftermath of the Maccabean Revolt, an event from the 2nd century BCE. In contrast, Kwanzaa was formally invented in 1966, right smack dab in the middle of the civil rights movement. The brainchild of black activist and California-based professor Maulana Karenga, it was a holiday inspired by the African Harvest Festival traditions, initially created to serve as an alternative holiday for black people to celebrate, effectively making it the FUBU of holidays. The reason why it was initially supposed to be an alternative was due to the fact that at the time Maulana claimed Jesus to be psychotic and Christianity
Merry Christmas, everybody!
Religion. For obvious reasons, black people who like church found that to be some nonsense. Luckily, the sentiment softened in the 90s as Kwanzaa became more mainstream. Nowadays, most black people who celebrate Kwanzaa prefer to do both, because ultimately it's a choice. Some celebrate it, some don't. It really is up to personal preference. This brings us all the way to the Proud Family's Kwanzaa special, in which the family celebrates Kwanzaa for the first time. This also being the first time a Disney show has ever celebrated Kwanzaa, period. Now, the Proud Family was interesting because if you really think about it, there isn't that much different from your standard animated sitcom. There was the bumbling dad Oscar, the level-headed mother Trudy, and a teenage daughter Penny. Add in a grandmother, a poodle, and 2 twin babies, and a funk-singing uncle voiced by Cedric the Entertainer. Got yourself a family right there. But the Proud Family was still about a black family living in America, so it intrinsically had the ability to tackle topics that other shows may not have been able to broach. Like this episode, for example. Anyway, the plot starts like how most of these episodes start, on December the 24th. The Prouds are finishing up their holiday shopping when Oscar comes across a homeless man and his family, with Trudy telling him to give them some money.
It's Christmas, Oscar. They're a family and they need help. Maybe that could be us.
When we get the credit card bills next month, that will be us.
But before he can do that, the family disappears, leaving behind their sign. So later that day, Oscar and Penny go down to the homeless shelter, and under the presumption that they are homeless, the lady at the counter gives Oscar some supplies and a snack.
Ah! These are awful! What on earth are you giving these people?
They end up finding the family at the shelter, and Penny invites them to come to their house for Christmas dinner. So the 25th comes, and the Prouds are opening gifts. Penny gets a 2000s-era cell phone, as was the make of the time, and Oscar gets a new Wizard Kelly watch from Trudy. During that, the homeless family arrives for dinner, 7 hours early, so 9 a.m. And it's introduction time. Margaret, the mom, voiced by Vivica A. Fox, Stephanie, voiced by Raven Simone, and the father Joseph, voiced by...
Here you go. A little something we picked up. Ooh, what is this? It's a fruitcake. It's good for your soul.
Sam L. Jackson? The man who uses the F word like other people use the letter E? If this surprises you, the Proud Family basically had every black celebrity on the planet Earth guest star at some point, and Shia LaBeouf for some reason, including the late Kobe Bryant. I'm also 100% positive, by the way, that with Louder and Prouder, that they're going to guest star all the celebrities that came up in the interim. But after getting settled in, including Uncle Bobby coming down the chimney and tossing the fruitcake the homeless family came in with, and based solely on how it sinks into the ground, they may have saved themselves from needing their stomachs pumped. After it's revealed that they don't celebrate Christmas, Penny invites Stephanie to hang out with her friends, wherein they end up sitting on the grass reading a book. During that, Oscar and Bobby are building a playset for the twins, with Joseph being the only one able to build it due to being a former construction worker, and it becomes pretty clear that his family seems to prefer being homeless over worrying about material possessions.
Yeah, I used to be just like you, bending over backwards to maintain my things. Tires for the car, roof for the house, fence for the yard. Judy, I just got tired of things taking over.
And by now, this episode is half over, and you're probably wondering when they're going to get to Kwanzaa already. I'll just cut to the chase. The next day, the family kinda sorta lets themselves into the Prouds' house, unbeknownst to them, to explain that they're under the impression that since they were invited to celebrate the holidays, they're back to share their holiday traditions with the Prouds, and they celebrate Kwanzaa, which starts on the 26th, having already preemptively set up a Kwanzaa table. From here, the episode actually starts doing Kwanzaa, with a montage of the family showing up for 7 straight days and the holiday continuing, condensing every single day of Kwanzaa to the main point of each.
Umoja, unity. Kujichagulia, self-determination.
Jima, collective work, and responsibilities.
Ujama, cooperative economics.
Nia, purpose.
Creativity. Oh.
Imani! Hey, we almost named Penny that. Oh, Faith.
And with each passing day, the Prouds get more and more into the holiday spirit. After the final day, the homeless family leaves, and Felix Boulevardes, one of the neighbors and Oscar's friend, comes over. Apparently, the Boulevardes were celebrating the holidays in Acapulco. That is, until one of Felix's foremen quit on him due to him owning a construction company. So, trying to pay it forward, Oscar recommends Joseph for the job, so they head down to the shelter to tell them the good news. But there's something squirrely going on here. Apparently the front desk lady has never heard of or seen this family, and even stranger, there's an almost identical white family who also answers to Joseph, Stephanie, and Margaret, right down to Joseph being a foreman and Margaret a teacher. Regardless, Oscar gives this other Joseph Felix's card, and the Proud family leaves, deciding that they have no idea why someone would purposefully impersonate a homeless family, but they did ultimately bring them closer together. And when they get home...
That fruitcake I threw out the window turned into a fruit tree. Ooh.
And yes, apparently angels wear dashikis.